We're going to go down to point 2. Collections do the most damage. Collections. It's a lot of different points of variables that we're going to go over session after session. But the one thing that I want to let you guys know that is collections do the most damage. That's what hurts you the most. It hit harder than any other variable of understanding and managing your debt to income ratio. All that stuff comes after collections. Because you got to think about it realistically. If you have a lot of collections, that means you owe a lot of people. So why would we continuously lend you money? Or you have a poor habit or responsibility of making sure your debt is managed. You making sure, see, because it's good debt, it's bad debt. We're going to get into that later on. But right now, what you're looking for, number 2, is the collections. One collection can drop your score about 50 to 150 points depending on what it is and how much it is. That's right. One collection can drop your score 50 to 150 points. You know how hard it is to get 50 to 150 points in the good to go up? It can be done with a series of actions, but it's easier to lose that than it is to build it, if that makes sense. You know how grandma say it's harder to get in, it's easier to get in trouble than get out of it? Same thing when it comes to your credit, when it comes to building those good habits, those healthy credit habits. So then, identify collections first, which means I like to take a marker. And when we have our credit report party, that's what we're going to do. We're going to take a marker. We're going to take a red marker. We're going to take a green marker. The red marker, we're going to mark everything that's in collections. We're going to mark all our collections. It's going to look like a scribble board. We're going to mark those collections. Boop, 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 so we can identify. See, a lot of times we run from what we are obligated to. And when you don't know who you owe, it don't matter how much money you make, because it's going to feel like you're building on quicksand. It's going to feel like you can never win, because at the end and the beginning of the day, you're trying to manage what's already gone. So I want to know who I owe. I want to know what I owe. I want to know why I owe. And that goes back up to point 1, because a lot of times I may not owe this company, this third-party company. I don't owe them nothing. I owe that first company. I own that first person that I accumulated that debt with. I don't owe the second and third person. So I want to identify my collections first. I want to check for duplicates, because sometimes, depending over the years, they add one and then they add the same negative item twice. Questionable item twice. I want to look for owed or paid off collections. I want to mark that. I want to mark that with my green. The old ones, that's about 10 years, 7 to 10 years old. And then the ones that's been paid off, because what happens is sometimes you can pay off a collection and they don't remove it from your report. So now I want to identify, I want to be aware of what's going on. The first way to win in anything, whether it's sports, whether it's a war, whatever it is, and you want to win or conquer, whether it's chess, you have to be aware of your opponent. You have to be aware of what you're fighting. If you don't know what you're fighting, you're just swinging in the air. You exhausted energy. You're constantly going to work every single day. At the end of the week, you're living paycheck to paycheck, and you say that you don't want to, but you're not doing the things that create healthy habits so you won't have to. You deserve to live paycheck to paycheck if you don't know who you are. If you don't know what you're doing with your money, you do not deserve not to be in that situation. If you're not putting yourself in a healthier, better, stronger situation. I want you guys to think about your credit like your relationship. You won't just lay down with anybody. You just won't get with anybody. You should not allow your credit to just do anything or it just happens. That's how your life is. It's flowing based upon certain metrics, and you allowing that metric to just drag you along. So we want to have awareness, and we want to identify what's going wrong so we can attack it in the right manner, if that makes sense. You just want to make sure everything is valid and legally reported. Because if it's reported twice, it's not legal. If it's a third-party collector, it's not legal. If the statement is changed, which means that the statement debt versus the report debt, it's not legal. Fair Credit Act, I'm going to drop all the acts as well as those policies that you can go and check and learn yourself as well. Remember, we building and growing together as a unit. So you got to do your due diligence as well.